Hello, hello. Welcome to the 46th episode of the Veggies Abroad Vegan Travel Podcast with the chief veggie pusher, myself, Rebecca Gady-Sawicki. Some of you may already be familiar with Veggies Abroad, but for those of you who aren't, we're a full-service vegan travel company that offers custom planning services, small group trips, a helpful blog chock full of just about everything a vegan or veg-curious traveler could possibly need, and this podcast. With this podcast, I aim to amplify the voices of businesses championing vegan and vegan-friendly options, responsible tourism practices, the environment, and community impact. All things we need more of and must actively support. There is so much going on. Our roster of tours for next year is almost completely set. One of our final holdouts, though, is Iceland. Since we had such great response for last year's trip, or not last year's, this year's trip, and a wait list for it, I decided to bring it back, but it has been nothing short of challenging. While we all know that inflation has been problematic, it's really hit Iceland hard, which means the pricing for everything went up by 20% or more. And it's already an expensive country to start with. I am working to see what we can do about it without sacrificing things that make the trip so special, but I won't lie, it's a challenge. No way around it. 3 of our other trips for next year are sold out or close to it, which are Vietnam, Ecuador, and Kenya. Kenya has just 3 spots left, but there is space left for our Costa Rica and Colombia adventures, which are 2 really amazing countries. If you've ever even remotely thought about it, if you love biodiversity and beautiful wildlife and amazing scenic places, you need to go. Just don't even think about it. I actually had a really funny conversation with a woman the other day about Colombia. She said, "That one seems weird to me. Is it just because of all of the Trump nonsense I hear on the news?" I cannot remember the last time I laughed so hard on a call with someone I had just met. If you are looking for a unique trip, Colombia is it. This isn't just a vacation. It's a kind of experience that will stay with you so much longer after you're home. Months later, I still catch myself thinking about the women in Medellin working tirelessly to uplift their communities, or the family preserving centuries-old ciateras tradition with their breathtaking flower displays. And then, of course, there's food. Exotic fruits I've never heard of, incredible vegan restaurants, and passionate entrepreneurs using their businesses to give back to their neighborhoods. What struck me most about Colombia is the resilience of its people. Despite facing so much adversity, they continue to push forward with determination and joy. Honestly, I don't know about you, but I think we could all use a little more of that spirit in our lives, right? In addition to tours, I've got private clients trotting around the globe, enjoying high tea in London, all the way to having tea with monks in Asia and everywhere in between. It's really, really fabulous. And then there are new podcasts coming your way, some really cool newsletters with helpful trip tips, and so much more. And actually, we still have to close out this year's trips. 2025 still has 3 more full trips for you to watch unfold on Instagram, or join the newsletter and see all the behind the scenes for those as well. But there is one last thing that I want to touch on before we dive into today's episode. After our last episode about Turkey, I received a few emails from listeners who were surprised that I would visit a country with challenges around human rights and inclusivity. I'll be honest, there was a time when I had my own do not visit list. I even remember arguing with a supplier about it. But over time, I realized a couple of really important things. First, who am I to sit and judge an entire country? And second, a place is always more than its government. Wherever you go in the world, you will find people working hard for progress, pushing for equality, and building communities that need and deserve our support. We also have to remember that change doesn't happen in isolation. It often begins when people are exposed to new ideas, to different ways of thinking, and connections outside their bubble. And that's one of the greatest gifts of travel. It pushes us out of our comfort zone and challenges us to see beyond what's familiar. That doesn't mean travel will change your core beliefs. You're not suddenly going to adopt a new religion or abandon your values, but it does create understanding. And from understanding comes compassion, and compassion is something we all need more of. Now, over to today's episode. Traveling should be exciting, not terrifying, but for people with life-threatening food allergies, something as simple as grabbing a snack on the go can be a matter of life or death. Today, I'm joined by Karine Lang from Lang Signature Travel. Karine lives with a severe sunflower allergy, travels the world with her allergy alert dog Elton, and helps others do the same. In this conversation, we'll talk about her personal journey, the difference between allergies and sensitivities, how the travel industry is handling allergy requests, and what travelers can do to stay safe while seeing the world. Let's go chat with Karine. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am really looking forward to this conversation and learning more about how you can travel safely with allergies. It kind of seems like a Herculean mountain climbing kind of effort. I have a food sensitivity, which at times feels like a mountain to climb and a pain in the butt. So I can only imagine what life is like for you.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
And so I guess to start, can you tell a little bit about your story? How did you first discover your sunflower allergy? What has living with it been like?
Right. So a little bit about me. I have a background in event planning. I've been planning all different kinds of events for the last 20 years or so. I love travel. Planning trips comes really naturally to me because of my background. And then my allergies, I've been deadly allergic to all forms of sunflower since the age of around 11. So that's about 30-ish years. And it's been really, really hard for sure. For a really long time, I didn't travel because it was too much of a pain in the butt. And then one day I decided, okay, like I really want to explore this beautiful world we have. And I just started doing it, and it was not easy, and it's still not easy, but I'm doing it.
Yeah, absolutely you are. I cannot imagine at 11 what that had to have been like to find out that you had a sunflower allergy. Like, of all things, that it be sunflower. How in the world did they even figure that out?
Well, I was eating a granola bar. And then all of a sudden, my throat started closing up. And all of a sudden, I started feeling very, very sick. And I knew that I was actually dying. And it's like, I'll never forget that feeling. It was the strangest thing to be 11 years old and knowing I'm dying. And I went to the hospital, and then they did all the allergy tests. And that's how I discovered that I was allergic to sunflower.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Up until that point, you had not had a product with sunflower in it? Or it's just maybe your body was like, you know what, we really hate sunflower and we're going to say no more?
Yeah, I'm really not sure, to be honest. I don't remember sunflower seeds being something that I really ate. So I could have been allergic my whole life, or I could have just developed it, because allergies can develop at any age.
Oh, God, that's terrible. And scary.
Yeah.
How long were you in the hospital then at 11?
It was just overnight. And then I had about, I would say from then until now, probably, I would say, I can't remember exactly, but I would say between 5 and 7 reactions where I ended up in the hospital. The last one being over 8 years ago. So thankfully it hasn't happened in quite a long time. And that's because I'm extra diligent, and I don't eat out that often. I make my own food. I triple check everything. And then, of course, now I have Elton.
Wow. Yeah. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine how in the world you go about planning a trip when you have an allergy like this. So we'll get into Elton, and we'll talk about who Elton is in a minute. But prior to having additional support with figuring that out, how did you do it?
Yeah, so again, I have my event planning background to thank for my researching skills, my planning skills, the logistics, all of that really, really prepared me to be able to travel. So basically, my first big trip was to Italy. And I had to do a bunch of research beforehand. So I contacted over 100 restaurants via email and explained my allergy and that I was vegan, and asked if they could accommodate me. So a lot of places said no, a lot of places said yes. So then I compiled a list of safe places for me to eat. And then I created an allergy card in Italian. so that in the event that I went somewhere and they did not speak English, at least they could read the card. So we got there, and we ended up being able to, well, okay, so let me just backtrack. I had my card. I went to a few different places who said that they could not help me, that it wasn't safe. And that's because in Italy, they actually use a lot of sunflower oil. It's very common there.
Interesting. It's more common than olive oil?
It's not more common, but it's very common.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I knew that going to higher end restaurants would mean that they would make a lot more almost everything from scratch, right? And when a restaurant makes something from scratch, they know what's in it. So one day I ended up eating at 2 Michelin-starred restaurants in one day.
Oh, wow.
For lunch and dinner. And it was like, some of the best meals I ever had. And I knew going into this that I would have to eat at higher end restaurants because they would be more accommodating. And that's what we did. And I ate the best food of my life. And it was an amazing experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk about a trip of a lifetime. Oh my gosh.
And sorry, I forgot to mention that we actually stayed with a vegan chef for part of the trip. So we kind of did all of Italy. We did Amalfi Coast, Sorrento, Rome, Florence, and Venice. And so we stayed in the Florence part with a vegan chef. She has like a little Airbnb and a little restaurant. And we took like a pasta making class, and the food was phenomenal. And she was actually preparing food for me to bring out with me for my travel days while we were out exploring.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing, like with or without an allergy. Like what a trip bonus. When you showed those allergy cards or you were reaching out to those places, were people generally willing to help, or what was the initial response?
It was very mixed in Italy, to be honest. Like I said, at the higher end places, they were super accommodating, no problem at all. But the places that were more like touristy, super busy, they didn't really make the time or the effort. So I quickly learned, okay, like these are not the types of restaurants that I can safely go to.
Yeah, absolutely. And before you even got to Italy, did you have to alert the airline of your allergy, like on the plane?
No, so I've never had an issue with the smell of sunflowers. Okay. So to me, I that's not something that I needed to do. And of course, I know to not even bother trying to eat on the plane, trying to eat any of the airplane food. And first of all, it's, disgusting most of the time.
Yes.
So I'm not missing out. So I basically, every time I travel, and a lot of people don't know this, and this is what I say to a lot of clients, you can bring your own food. I've traveled with tons of food, okay? Like literally bags full of food. Suitcases full of food.
You need to take a picture and post that. I want to see your airplane meals.
And it's like, it's funny because I saw a meme the other day on one of my allergy groups that I follow on Instagram. And it was like a man with a huge suitcase. And it's like packing food for like a 2-hour trip. But yeah, that's the life of traveling with food allergies and being vegan. You have to be prepared, and you have to just pack a bunch of snacks. That way you're not stranded, because I never, ever plan on eating any food while I'm at the airport or on the plane. So I just bring my own stuff. That way it's completely safe. I know I'm going to eat because I get hangry, and I just have to be prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. What are some things that you always bring?
I always bring jerky that I make myself. Okay. I bring like protein bars, dried fruit, nuts. So a lot of shelf stable things. I also like, when I travel in the winter, to bring like a ramen bowl, and I literally just, ask the people on the plane for some hot water, and then I have a hot meal.
That's super smart.
Yeah.
So that is super smart.
Yeah.
Do you normally make like sandwiches or anything like that as well too?
Yeah. I'll make wraps because those hold pretty well. So I always have to factor in like, okay, so how much time am I going to be at the airport? How much time am I going to be on the plane? And then how much time is going to go in between being,
Right.
at the airport to my actual destination, which can be pretty long, right? It's most of the time full days. So I need to make sure that I have enough food for that entire day.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah, definitely post that picture. I got to see that. So once you've done all of this planning, so you've reached out to all of these places, you've created your spreadsheets, you've made your picnic basket for the airplane. Once you get there, would you say it's generally pretty smooth sailing?
Yeah. So I went to Italy. That was my first big trip, right? And then I started going to Costa Rica. And what I started doing is, in addition to being a travel agent, I was also a personal chef for quite a few years. And so I did a lot of cooking for clients. So I prepared meals for clients on a weekly basis. So I'm in the kitchen like almost all the time, right? Making my own food. And then I was making food for clients. So when we booked our first trip to Costa Rica, we actually hired a private chef to come. So we rented a villa and we had a private chef come and make our food, because I was not going to be on vacation and making food when I'm in the kitchen like so much, right? So that's kind of how we started traveling to Costa Rica, renting these beautiful houses and having the private chef come and prepare the meals for us. Now, depending on the length of the trip, it's not like he stayed the entire time. He would make some meals, and some meals we would eat out. And one of the reasons why I love Costa Rica so much is because it is so allergy friendly. And great for celiacs as well, because they use a lot of corn. They don't really have that much bread. And the people in Costa Rica, another reason why I love going there so much, is they are so genuine, they are so caring, so accommodating, and they really are happy to go out of their way to accommodate you.
That's really nice to hear. That doesn't always happen in a lot of destinations, that you feel like people really hear you when you say like, hey, I have an allergy. And I think this leads really well into my next question, is that oftentimes allergy and sensitivity get used interchangeably. Can you help us understand the difference if anybody isn't sure that's listening?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ranges to allergies, right? So there's something called like an oral allergy, which I have about 20 of. So it means that I can eat something and then my throat gets really itchy or my lips get really itchy. So that's that form of allergy, but I can't die, right? I can't die. If I eat sunflower seeds, I can die. So there's really varying degrees of allergies. Sensitivities could just be like, some people have a gluten sensitivity. So they eat it and it doesn't make them feel good at all, but you can't die. So it's very, very different.
It's a huge difference. Yes. Death or discomfort. Yeah. What would you choose? It sounds like the next reality show on Bravo. So I think, confusing these, it's obvious now to understand like why it is such a big deal, it comes to safety with traveling. And do you think sometimes that this confusion makes it really hard with like hotels and restaurants, like taking allergies more seriously?
Yeah, because then they might think, oh, the person just doesn't like it and they're saying that they're allergic, which is really not fair for people who actually have an allergy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I had some clients and they were celiac, actually, and one of them was 11. And I was so terrified for her. I was like, okay, I need you all to be on the same page with like cross-contamination and using toasters and knives and this and that. And they kind of looked at me with like a blank stare. And I was like, listen right now, somebody's going to get in trouble and it's not going to be me. It is going to be you. But that can literally ruin an entire trip for somebody. Has that ever been your case, that you've had an entire trip ruined by this?
Yeah. I actually had a really bad experience at Disney. It was my first time there, and this was just a couple of years ago, actually. And again, I had called ahead and I told them all about my allergy. But it's so much more than just calling ahead. You have to like confirm and reconfirm and reconfirm. So I got to the restaurant. I told them about my allergy. I sat down. I told the waiter about my allergy. I explained everything. And, I have to ask, well, you need to check this, this, and this, and that. Because like, if you're using anything that's packaged, you have to read the ingredients for every single ingredient that goes into the meal. And again, after that whole spiel, he assured me that everything was going to be taken care of. And I had heard great things about Disney, so I felt very comfortable. And so I order my meal. He comes to the table. He brings me my meal. And again, I reconfirm, okay, just want to make sure that it's okay. Yes, no problem. Okay, he goes away. And I'm literally about to take a bite. And he comes running over. Don't eat it. I'm like, what? He's like, I'm sorry, there was a mistake. And he takes my plate away. And then I was like, oh, okay, what just happened? And I'm there with my sister and my niece. They have their meal there. And then, yeah, so they screwed up. I don't know what happened. And then they brought me another meal. But of course, I didn't enjoy that meal. I was like so like scared and like, oh, it was a horrible experience. And Disney didn't even, comp my meal. They didn't do anything. They didn't accept any responsibility. So I was really, really not happy.
Did you end up eating it or no?
No, I didn't. I was about to.
I was too worried. Yeah, totally. That's understandable. I cannot even imagine being in that situation and thinking, did they really check all of the boxes back there? What did you do for the rest of the trip? Was that at the beginning of the trip, middle of the trip?
It was a very short trip. It was only like 4 nights, I think. So I think this was towards the end. And then on the last night, we went somewhere completely different, and it was an amazing experience.
Hey there, fantastic listeners. Let's hit pause on this episode for a thrilling announcement, a golden ticket to globetrot with Veggies Abroad. Veggies Abroad isn't just your go-to for vegan guides and trip planning tips. It's your passport to extraordinary small group journeys, carefully crafted by the ultimate veggie pusher and your favorite podcast host, me, Rebecca Gady-Sawicki. I've spent countless hours researching the best vegan hotels, food, and experiences, and now I'm bringing those experiences directly to you. Join me and my newfound veggie pals on escapades to exotic and exciting destinations around the world. Whether it's trekking through the Thai jungle to witness elephants in their natural habitat or exploring Iceland's famous ring road, our adventures are nothing short of spectacular. And guess what? Those aren't the only exciting trips awaiting you. So what are you waiting for? Cruise on over to veggiesabroad.com pronto. Well, how about after this episode is over to explore our dazzling lineup of tours and secure your spot today. Good. Yeah. Well, at least you ended on a strong a note instead of that, being the theme for your overall part of the trip or for your overall trip. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow. I'm sorry you went through that. That's really frustrating. But now with managing your allergy, you have a pretty incredible 4-legged teammate who we already alluded to earlier by your side to help. Can you tell us a little bit about Elton and how he came into your life?
Yeah. So, I had heard that you could train your dog to detect your allergen, and I had done a bit of research. I was like, wow, this is really awesome. So I decided to get a puppy, and he was my first puppy. I've had dogs my entire life. They were all rescues, but for this type of training, you need to start when they're young. So I couldn't rescue a dog and train them. They have to be a puppy. So he started training when he was 6 months old, and we worked with 2 trainers. So the first one was a local one who worked in the military training the bomb sniffing dogs. So
wow.
Yeah. So that's
incredible.
Yeah, I'm super lucky. He lives 10 minutes away from us. So he started us off on the training. And then when we got to the point where he couldn't help us anymore, because the training is somewhat similar but different, because training a dog to sniff bombs is very different than a dog sniffing your food. And so we worked with a trainer. She actually lives in Detroit or somewhere in Michigan. So we did the training online. And she was one of the very first ones to train the gluten detection dogs. And not only that, but she was one of the first to implement this training program where your dog is actually able to say yes or no, that it's safe to eat. So obviously they don't say it. He does something. But so the training was about a year and a half. So it's very long, and the training doesn't stop. Like we have to do maintenance training 2 to 3 times a week. So it's very, very involved, very time consuming. It was very expensive, but to me, it was worth every penny to have the peace of mind. So now I can take him in any environment, present him my plate, my bowl, my cup, a package, anything, and he will smell it. And if there's sunflower in it, he goes down. And if it's safe, then he just backs up.
Wow, that's incredible. I actually saw a little clip that you posted. You did an interview recently on your local news, and it was really cool to watch him react. And you gave him I think you mixed some sunflower seeds into a trail mix or something.
Yeah.
And it was in a package.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's not like
you
gave him
it.
the handful. Yeah, right.
No.
It's really cool what he's able to smell. I couldn't believe that.
Oh yeah, dogs have an amazing sense of smell, way better than humans, and he can literally detect by a trace amount, wow. tiny amount. It's really incredible.
Yeah, that is really, really incredible. How old is he now?
He's turning 3 in September, and our next trip to Costa Rica in February will be his 3rd trip there.
Oh my gosh, wow. He's probably more traveled than many people at this point.
Yeah, with all the connecting flights and everything, he's been, I think I've counted on 9 flights now.
Wow, that is really awesome. How cool. Are allergy detecting dogs becoming more popular, or more, I don't know if popular is the right word, but more available, more of a thing?
So not so much in Canada. It hasn't really made its way here so much, but in the States, it is becoming more and more popular.
Wow. And is it generally certain types of dogs that have this ability, or could it be any dog as long as you start them as a puppy?
It could be any dog, but they need to have the right temperament. They need, they can't, not just any dog can do it. They need to be able to pay attention. They need to be super, you need to have a really strong bond with them. You need to be able to read their body language. There's a lot that goes into it. So the training is really more training the human than training the dog, to be honest. It's just as much of that. Yeah.
Wow. That's really, really incredible. So since you've had Elton, has there been a moment where Elton has really saved the day?
Yeah, on our last trip, actually. So we were in this really small, remote place in Costa Rica. We had gone there on a day trip with our local friends, and it was literally like a little restaurant on the beach, super remote place. And our friend went and talked to the kitchen, explained all about my allergies and that I'm vegan. And they came back, our food came, and it was one bowl was beans, one bowl was pico de gallo, one bowl was rice, and then the plantain chips. So one by one, I presented the different bowls. And then when it came time to have him smell the beans, he told me that there was sunflower in it. And so when he tells me that there's sunflower in it, I redo it a couple times, and I change the order. Okay. And I even package it in different things. And every single time he said that there was sunflower in it. So I obviously didn't eat it.
Wow. I mean, that's so awesome that you had him, because I'm going to guess you were not close to a hospital.
No.
Yeah. And that would have been really challenging. Would an EpiPen help in a situation like this? Or is that just something that's a short-term help? Yeah,
it's just short-term, depending on the severity of the allergy. You still have to go to the hospital. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Elton.
Yeah.
Did they tell you maybe there was it cross-contamination? Or
I didn't bother, to be honest. They barely spoke English, and I took Elton's word, and I know that, he wasn't messing around. So I just didn't eat it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, traveling with an allergy is one thing, but traveling with a dog is another thing. Is it easy to travel with him?
I don't know how I got so lucky with him, to be honest. He was just over a year old on his first trip, and I had no idea what to expect because I had never traveled with a dog before, but I had done extensive training with him in all kinds of public areas, that I knew that I was pretty sure with certainty that being at the airport wouldn't stress him out, because we've gone in like super busy malls, in a lot of busy environments, all kinds of events, and he's never shown any signs of stress. And he was amazing. My biggest concern, to be honest, was the length of time of the flight and him not being able to go to the bathroom.
Right. Absolutely.
That was my biggest concern, but he was able to hold it without any problems. He just stayed at her feet during the entire flight. And so it's great. I would say the hardest thing, and this is what we're dealing with now, since we're going away for 6 weeks, is we probably can't bring as many suitcases as we want, because we're going to have to, hold on to Elton, hold on to my big bag of food, and suitcase. And so it's a lot. So right now we're just trying to figure out, how can we pack lighter, and what do we really need to bring? Because I need to bring stuff for Elton too, right? I need to bring his food. I need to bring his treats. I need to bring some of his toys, and so it's a lot. It's a lot to bring.
Yeah, absolutely. It's when he travels with you by plane, he can just sit at your feet?
Yes, because he is a certified service dog. So service dogs are allowed in planes. So yes, I'm very fortunate to be able to have that.
To keep him there. Yeah, absolutely. Are most destinations pretty accommodating or welcoming to having him? Or is that a whole nother podcast episode about traveling with a dog and all the paperwork that comes with it?
So yeah, the paperwork is definitely a challenge. I had to do a lot of research for that as well. And of course you Google, and there's lots of conflicting information. So now it's actually something that I offer as a service to clients traveling, whether it's just a dog or a service dog. I provide that service of helping them figure that out.
That's cool.
Specifically for Costa Rica, because I know exactly what needs to be done. Other places are a bit more tricky, like Panama. I really, really want to go there, but they have a 30-day home quarantine requirement. So I don't know if that would work to bring him. I haven't explored too many other countries yet, but that's something that I plan on doing. I definitely plan on going to Italy with him next year. And I know they're super, super dog friendly. So I don't think I will have any issues there. And of course, I can't take him on a cruise, because that would just be mean. So there's definitely some certain types of travels that I just won't be able to do. And that's okay. There's plenty of other amazing things to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that the travel industry is becoming, or is that they're improving with handling allergies, or do you think they still have a long way to go?
I mean, they are improving depending on the type of allergy you have. So in my case, my allergy is not a top allergen. So it makes it really, really difficult for me, because, airplanes will provide snacks that don't have nuts or peanuts, but then there'll be sunflower in it. So it doesn't help me in my case, but they are becoming, more accommodating for other types of allergies, for sure. I have seen the improvements.
That's good. Yeah, I hope it continues. I was just thinking that when you said that with the granola bar, because oftentimes they're like, it's nut free, because nuts are such a problem, but sunflower seeds are going to be the seed part.
Oh yeah. And there's so much sunflower in vegan products. So many vegan things I can't have because of my allergies. So it's so sad.
Oh my gosh, I would have never thought about that.
Yes, there's I would say a large percentage of the plant-based milks have sunflower in it.
Oh, probably the sunflower
lecithin
oil, or the
lecithin. Yeah.
Oh no! Oh, do you have to make your own?
No, there are some brands that I can have, but that's another thing. I go to a vegan restaurant, I'm you have to check your milk. You have to check the butter, the vegan butter. All the vegan things, they're vegan, but you need to check
poor thing. You have to bring everything. You literally have to bring everything. That is so unfair.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And so you've already mentioned that you do work with clients and you help them with planning trips and creating allergy-friendly ways to do this. Are there other things that you offer aside from the allergy side of things or dog travel?
Yeah, so I do custom trips for clients. My specialty is Central America because that's where I've traveled the most and that's where I absolutely love. Costa Rica is my absolute passion, but I book travel everywhere. So I help people with custom trips, and as well like the dietary things, and then I do group travel as well. And one thing that I do want to start getting into is doing group travel for people with allergies.
That's fantastic.
Right?
What a really, really great niche to have for sure. And so if you're working with someone who has an allergy, then do you contact the hotels? Like, how is that process?
Yeah. So my preferred way of travel, and this is how I've always done it, is I rent a villa and I have a chef come in. So that is the safest and easiest and most stress-free way to travel, in my opinion, when you have allergies, because you're working with one chef and he understands your allergies and he makes everything, based on, what's safe for you and you can control, right? So I still don't take his word for it 100%. I still read all the labels and I still have Elton.
Yeah, absolutely.
Elton is an extra layer of protection, but I just find that is the most fun way to travel, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that does take such a load off, so much stress because, I mean, yeah, of course, like you call, you confirm, the people tell you one thing, but you're right. If you don't have Elton, like you don't know until you put that in your mouth and eat it. And that's not fun.
No, and to be honest, like the chef that I work with, he is like, basically you're eating like restaurant level meals, if not better, right? So you know that you're getting really, really good food and it's pretty much the same price as going out for restaurant meals, to be honest. So I think it's a really nice experience.
Yeah, absolutely. What a way to go for sure. So as we wrap up, is there other advice that you always give clients or friends when they're traveling with allergies, like different things that you do to try and ease your pain? Yeah,
so just tell people to research as much as you can and to communicate and communicate and communicate and communicate and reconfirm everything. You cannot just take someone's word for it. You have to be your own advocate and you really have to not be scared or not feel ashamed or not feel like you're bugging people because it's really can be a matter of life and death. So you have to just make sure that you've done everything that you can to make sure that you're safe.
Yes, absolutely. And you also mentioned allergy cards in the language where you're visiting,
yes,
too, right?
Yes.
That could be a real game changer. So then there's no lost in communication or lost in translation.
Exactly. And yes, there's Google Translate, but sometimes your Wi-Fi is not working and maybe it's just loud. So when you're actually showing a card and people can read it, they're like, oh, okay, they understand. And I remember oftentimes showing the card in Italy and then they would take it back to their kitchen and then their entire kitchen would read it, right? So there's not any like broken telephone, like it's on a paper and then everyone reads it.
Yeah, absolutely. And with Google Translate can be really helpful, but things get lost in translation with that as well. So they might think, oh, does she mean she really likes sunflower or she doesn't? This is confusing. Let's give her all the sunflower we have.
Yeah.
That is really great advice. Karine, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your story. If listeners want to learn more or they have questions about trips or planning with allergies or planning with a service dog, how can they find you?
Yes, at langsignaturetravel.com, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram as well.
The same?
Yes, Lang Signature Travel.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. If you did, please consider subscribing and leaving a review. If you'd also like to learn more about upcoming Veggies Abroad tours or get additional travel help, visit veggiesabroad.com and also join our newsletter. It's the best way to stay up to date with loads of new content, like where to find gorgeous vegan hotels, what to eat in cities around the world, trip planning tips, and so much more. Well, that's all I've got for now. Until next time.